INFJs are notorious for having traits that seem contradictory, which confuses many people, even ourselves. Here are 19 seemingly paradoxical traits that many INFJs have, starting with people-focused versus introverted. We want social harmony, and we often have goals that center around benefiting people, but we like to work at a distance, picking and choosing when we have to actually be in contact with people. We prefer a small friend group with only close friends as opposed to a large friend group composed of friends and acquaintances. And we prefer talking one-on-one or maybe a small group. Large crowds are overwhelming, plus what we really crave is connection, and it's hard to forge a really deep connection whenever you're in a huge crowd of people that you have to cater to. Too much social time in general is going to wear us down, and we need our alone time. But if I feel someone I love needs me, that's enough to make me temporarily put the alone time that I need on hold. I can hold myself together for short periods whenever my battery is low, if I feel like I must be there for another person. Speaking of which, we tend to look after others, but ignore ourselves. INFJs seek to improve society according to our vision and stand up for others' well-being. But we might ignore our own needs in order to help somebody else or reach a goal. We may not even be able to tell which feelings are ours or somebody else's because we are social sponges. Now, in some cases, sometimes we just ignore our own emotions because we feel like we need to put them on hold to prioritize somebody else's. But in other cases, it's not that we're ignoring our own emotions. We simply legit cannot tell which are ours and which are other people's. It's kind of hard to prioritize yourself whenever you don't know where you begin and another person ends. However, there are a few instances where even us INFJs don't want to get involved. And one of those is whenever people are trying to cause unnecessary drama, or it doesn't seem like the parties involved even want to work things out. Mature, healthy INFJs who have been alive long enough are going to realize that this is a losing battle. Yes, we want to help people. Yes, we want to benefit society. But if we feel like some kind of negative communication is just determined to stay that way, then we're going to take our energy and our time and go elsewhere. For example, I don't bother to get involved in religious or political debates. It is not worth wasting my time and energy on something that really isn't going to be resolved. In the case of religion and politics, it's probably not going to be resolved. I may try to encourage respect whenever I run across something like this happening, but I do not waste my time on losing battles or stalemates. It's just not worth it. Once the involvement becomes a stalemate filled with pointless drama that does nothing but wear down our energy, we are ready to minimize that connection. We crave connection, but the wrong kind of connection is going to wear us out. We may be choosy about when we have physical connection, but we always need meaningful emotional and mental connection to really feel close to someone. I know I've mentioned this before. Small talk and surface topics, they shrivel our souls. Instead, share your desires, your feelings, your goals, your principles, your ideas. All of these things are what help us bond with you. But it is so hard finding people who can bond with us in this deep way. And it normally takes us a while to feel comfortable around new people in general. You must earn our trust in order to fully have this type of connection with us. Thus, that is yet another reason why we prefer small friend groups to large ones. It's much easier to find a small group and put our time and energy into those few people. Around new people and places, INFJs may seem more shy than we really are because we are observing the people and situation before we decide to take a chance on getting involved and making connections. We also need people who won't take advantage of us. We may be empaths who can read people with striking accuracy. But once we are close to someone, we may trust them to a fault. We want to believe that the people that we know and like, maybe even humanity in general, are good, even to the point of becoming kind of gullible. We can be both the worst pessimists and the most incurable optimists, because we want to see and therefore end up finding the best in people We want to trust them. We are idealists who believe the world and everyone around can be better. But whenever we look at the world as a whole, that's whenever we can clearly see the bad in it. Now for me, my optimism lies in the word can, and my pessimism lies in the word will. I have the highest confidence that everyone can change, but I believe that few will put forth the effort to actually do so. INFJs love creative projects, especially whenever they serve our long-term goals. Now, these goals may seem like pie-in-the-sky ideas, but we can also think practically. What steps will it take to accomplish this goal? What resources will it take? How much time will it take? Imagination helps us see our destination, and rationality helps us evaluate where we are now and how to reach that destination. This also explains our next paradox. We can think both about the big picture and the details within that big picture. This is another paradox that's really good for helping us reach our goals. We use our creativity in seeing the big picture, and we use our rationality in working out the details necessary to make that big picture happen. Although I personally see a lot of creative solutions coming into play even during that path, so I guess you could also argue that really creativity is an instrumental part of every single part of what we do. I honestly see no limit to how creativity can come into play. INFJs love innovating, applying our creativity and vision to make the future brighter. But we are also old souls who don't mind embracing classical and traditional tastes and rules so long as they suit us. As long as a rule or style still makes sense and still gets us closer to our goals in the end, then why shouldn't we embrace it, new or old? Based on my looks, most people guess that I am much younger than I am, but after talking to me for a while, many of them will say that I seem like I should be about 10 years older than I am. It's actually a really common report for INFJs to have people tell them that they seem like a sage or a counselor, and this only adds to that old soul feel of the INFJ. Even though we are very future-oriented, old or new is not really the point to me. What really matters is what works. INFJs do not mind quietly living by our passion. Most INFJs do not need reassurance from other people that their goals or visions are right. If we really believe in our goals, we're gonna chase them. We don't need your approval. If you approve, great, whatever. That's just a cherry on top, it's not the main sundae. However, even though we don't really need you to approve of what we're doing, if you make a good case for something that we're doing could hurt somebody else or hurt society, that might be enough to make us reevaluate. But as far as just raw approval, no, we really don't need it. Our passions give us energy and a fierce drive. When you see us talk, or better yet, act on our passions, we get a fire in our eyes that next to nothing can extinguish. But being introverts, our energy around people is going to drain pretty quickly, and so we will seem low energy. And let's face it, we kind of exhaust ourselves in pursuit of our goals, and sometimes I find myself running pretty much on pure passion to keep myself going. My body may be tired, but my passion gives me the energy to keep going. Before I discovered my zeal for YouTube, I felt low energy, dull, and just kind of lost. Like a part of me was missing. But once I discovered that passion, or rather it hit me, I became alive and passionate and complete in a way that I never knew before. Even whenever I get tired and burned out, which happens a lot by the way, I experience the weirdest combination of feeling animated about my passion, but still tired and somewhat lost. Oh yes, we have a weird side. My sister and I are both INFJs, and when it's just us, we have the weirdest sense of humor.
Sometimes it's even a little dark.
And we love creating weird ideas and talking about weird hypothetical scenarios. But INFJs also take their responsibilities very seriously. We will work long, smart, and hard in order to avoid failing our companions and our goals. INFJs are emotional creatures, but we prefer to hold our own emotions in, for better or for worse. We're often calm on the outside, but swirling with emotion emotions inside. We may tell someone how we feel, but we may not show how we feel unless, 1, we deem it logical to show the emotion, 2, the emotion is just so strong that we do not have the energy or the willpower to hold it in any longer, or 3, we really trust someone. For example, we might deem it logical to show that we are irritated whenever a friend takes our teasing too far, because we know that this particular friend will take a hint and ease up. In the second scenario, I've broken down crying before if I've gotten too upset. The emotions were just so strong I could not hold them back. INFJs are both wonderful and awful communicators. First off, there's the difference between our written communication and our spoken communication. We are generally better and prefer to write out our thoughts rather than speak them. It just gives us time to organize them and really put them in order. However, we can be pretty good at speaking if we have adequate time to properly prepare. We often read body language and expression pretty well too. It goes with our empathy. But then there's also the discrepancy between our head knowledge and our ability to execute said knowledge. That light is flickering again. Ugh. Sometimes we know exactly what we ought to say and do, but if something is really hard to talk about or we fear another person's reaction, then our anxiety may get in the way of actually communicating properly. INFJs love a quiet corner to observe and reflect. The limelight can be very intimidating, with all those eyes watching our every move and all those people expecting us to entertain or inform them, But if we have a purpose, if our time in the limelight somehow gets us closer to those long-term goals, then heck yeah! It still may not be that comfortable, but we will love the fact that it furthers our goals. We like structure and planning. It can fluster us whenever something unexpected happens. Don't like sudden surprises, at least of a negative nature, or if we had to prepare for something. We kind of want to know in advance. Yet, we are highly intuitive, and intuition, just by nature of intuition being what it is, you can't schedule that. We tend to handle internal spontaneity, like sudden epiphanies or sudden ideas or thoughts, better than we can external surprises, like a friend suddenly dropping by or a popped car tire. Not that anyone usually likes a popped car tire, but you get what I mean. If an external plan does change, we prefer it to be our choice according to our intuition. Like, for example, our intuition tells us that it's a pretty ideal time to have that dinner meeting with an old friend. Now, we realize it's not possible for anyone to be perfect, but we still find ourselves striving to be perfect, or at least as perfect as we can be. This might be for the sake of other people or for the sake of our goals, but it could also be because INFJs in general tend to be a high-achieving type. But ironically, we tend to become so perfectionistic and focused on some little parts of a project that we may end up getting a lower quality project in general because we neglected other parts of the project. We were so focused on those few little parts. For example, for a long time on YouTube, I was so focused on good research and improving my video editing skills that I almost completely neglected the business side of YouTube.
I'm still regretting that.
The fact that we talk about the INFJ walking paradox at all already highlights how misunderstood INFJs are, even by ourselves, sadly enough. We are empaths with the uncanny ability to sense others' feelings, intentions, attitudes, and yet we don't always know what we are intending and feeling half the time ourselves. Oops. INFJs can be very loyal and deeply care for those in our circle. A side effect of having a small but close circle of friends is that we have invested so much time and energy into these few people that we aren't going to want to let any of those people go. You know how much time and energy I put into having them as friends? No! But if they hurt us bad enough, we may do what is called a door slam. This may seem like a kind of drastic and irrational INFJ habit, but really there is a lot of reason behind why we do this. It's kind of complicated, but luckily I did an entire video outlining the INFJ door slam from an INFJ's perspective, which I will link right here so that you can have nothing less than a deeper understanding of us very freaky INFJs.